today we are going to cover part 2 of stage 8. Now, stage 8 is the stage of the orchestra, and it has 7 symbols to help inspire our individual spiritual journey. So these symbols inspire us in different ways to develop the harmony that we need to be able to cross to stage 9. So last week we covered 4 out of the 7, and let's do a quick recap. But I do highly recommend and I urge you, please see the video of part 1 of stage 8, because today I don't have time to recap it in any detail at all except for just quick bullet points. But do visit that, because once you've seen that video, what I'm going to share with you now, all of it comes together in a very harmonious way. So we covered 4 out of the 7 symbols. The first one was the stage or platform on which the orchestra performs. Now, the stage is your foundation of knowledge, and this includes all the knowledge and light that you have derived throughout your journey thus far. Next, we discuss the instruments of the orchestra. What do the instruments represent? They are your thoughts and emotions, which drive your words and actions, which in turn create events and experiences in your life, and experiences create knowledge and light. So that's the linkage with the instrument and the stage. Next, we discussed the musicians playing the instruments. Who are these musicians? They are elements of your character. And we covered example of elements of character such as kindness and cruelty, generosity and being miserly, consideration and neglect, confidence and fear, and greed, which in fact engages multiple elements such as generosity and consideration, and more. So we covered that amply in the last webinar. In part 1, we also took a closer look at our own character and its elements, and learned about why it's important to be consciously aware of them, refine them, build upon them. Next, we discussed the audience in the theater, which is the 4th symbol. What makes up the audience? Who are they? Your audience includes every being you have ever encountered, from the closest to you down to simple acquaintances, even those you may have encountered only once in your journey, from stages 1 to 7. Therefore, every encounter in your material journey is of significant value and not to be ignored. Next, we learned about the importance of practicing healthy detachment, which is an essential part of overcoming conflicts in our lives that bog us down in our journey. So this is what we covered in part 1 of stage 8. And please, like I said, go back, listen to the video, refresh yourself on the details of the 4 symbols and how we translate them to practical action steps, which we also covered in some detail. Which brings us to today. Today we will cover the last 3 symbols of the orchestra, which are the script of the music that is followed by the musicians, the music itself, and finally the conductor. So we're going to talk about the script, the music, and the conductor. And we will also cover another core aspect of stage 8, which is the river merging into the ocean, which is a fascinating process from a spiritual point of view. Now, let us start first with the script that the musicians are playing to. What is this script? What does it comprise? The script of the music of your orchestra includes your ethics. It includes the guidance that you receive from the scriptures and teachings that you have derived from enlightened beings that you have encountered in your life, teachings that resonate with you. The script also includes the wisdom that you, as a soul, have derived from stages 1 to 7, because you are growing too. And finally, it includes inspirations that are derived from the conductor of your orchestra. And we will discuss who the conductor is in a few moments. Now, every element of the script is based on helping you create music of pure and absolute harmony, music of zero conflict. And we're going to explore why zero conflict is important. How does it actually help you? How does the harmony actually help you? So the script is your inner code that guides you through your material and spiritual journey. That inner code of you is all written on your script, and it's an evolving script. It's a changing script. It's changing with you. So a good example of the inner code, one of the elements, is your inner voice, which you heard for the first time with absolute clarity in stage 6, which is the stage of the monks chanting in the temple. The temple is your physical body, and the chanting of the monks is your inner voice. Your inner voice is always with you, guiding you through life in a soft and gentle tone. It's always soft and gentle. And we've talked extensively about inner voice in previous webinars. A lot of times it guides you against your wishes of your material mind. You don't like to hear what it says, and most people silences it when it tells them what they don't want to hear. So they silence their inner voice. But we cannot get away from the premise that the wisdom and counsel of your inner voice does compose the script that your orchestra will play too. So we have to elevate its importance in our conscious being, our conscious awareness. We should be listening to it, hearing it. Now, in addition to inner voice, your inner code also includes values that you have built upon through your journey from stages 1 to 7. What are these values? Let us look at some examples. Honesty above all fear of consequences. Another value is fairness above all elements of greed and bias. Kindness beyond revenge and hurtful desires. Generosity with no expectation of human recognition. Protecting the interests of others beyond your own self-interests. And total acceptance of others and all creation, for that matter, with no prejudice or bias. Total neutrality and absence of all judgment. And I've shared this example of judgmentalism once before with you, which is that, and it's from Towards Zero Conflict, my book, and we will be actually doing a whole session on that as part of stage 8. But judgmentalism, we look at a human being as being like a blank piece of paper. It's blank on one side, and the truth about the person is written at the back. But all we see is the blank side. Yet we all profess to know what is on the side that we don't see. And so when you're looking at judgmentalism, one of the seeds of resolving and getting over judgmentalism, which we shared in Towards Zero Conflict, is to think of this piece of paper and always recognize that you cannot see the truth about that person, so do not judge them. Do not try to be an authority on subjects that you know nothing about. So these are again values that make up our inner code. And so neutrality and absence of all judgment is a very important one. And as you all know, our judgments and our judgmentalism is a source of huge conflict in our lives and in the lives of others. So these are examples of our derived values. Now, as you may recognize by now, these inner codes are closely built into your character, which makes up the musicians of your orchestra. Remember, it is the musicians that read and play the music according to the script. So your inner code is deeply embedded into your script. In addition, your inner code also projects an absence of ego, because ego can severely influence the music that the musicians will play to. An absence of ego also manifests in pure humility. Furthermore, inner code projects the pure presence of your being, which resonates completely with your soul. Now, what is this pure presence of your being? This is a bit of an esoteric dimension we are going to go into. It is the most honest and transparent form of your being. So, pure presence is the most honest and transparent form of your being, transparent to you. That reflects the true you, and not the you that projects what others expect of you, neither the you and the facades that you wear to impress and influence others. Your pure presence is the bare, honest, naked you, exactly who you are, what you are, which is completely neutral in essence, without any biases or any influences of the material world. And this dimension of your script is essential because the orchestra plays your music and no one else's. So it has to be absolutely you, totally transparently you. Now, if you wish to cross stage 8, your pure presence must be refined constantly until all its elements of conflict are gone from your being. And at this point, your script will be perfected. And hence, your musicians will which make up your character will also be perfected. And the music of your orchestra will transform into pure and absolute harmony. At this point, your soul is ready to move higher towards stage 9. So this is very, very important, very significant, your pure presence. Now, let's look at some examples of practical steps that you can take to perfect your script, regardless of what stage you may be at in your spiritual journey. You can be at stage 1 all the way to stage 8, but what I'm about to share with you is relevant whichever stage you are at. Number 1, work conscientiously to enhance your ethics. This is one way of perfecting your script. And this comes from reflecting on your actions and decisions, to recognize where improvements can be made, and then use these improvements to build the framework of your ethics continuously. So this is one way of perfecting your script. Next, invest time and effort towards learning from the teachings of the scriptures and the works of enlightened spiritual teachers that resonate with you. Put in the time, put in the effort, because that also helps perfect your script. This will help you build greater wisdom, which you can then further fortify each day by consciously learning from life's lessons that come your way. Next is listen to your inner voice and follow its guidance. Refine and perfect your inner code and pure presence. That's the next one. And this is how we can all work towards perfecting our script. And remember, your script is completely tied into your musicians, for they are the ones that will play your music of your orchestra. It is also completely tied into the instruments of your orchestra because they are the nature of the thoughts that you give birth to. Your thoughts are the instruments, if you remember. So you can see how pieces of your orchestra are all closely intermeshed. That in itself is a dimension of harmony, isn't it? Complete unity between each of the pieces of the orchestra. So isn't it marvelous how harmony projects itself completely within the orchestra? Not just the music, but the whole orchestra. That's what stage 8 is all about. And that's your being is all about. Your script is about that. And this brings us to the next symbol of the orchestra, which is the music itself. What is this music? Now, so far we have looked at the symbols of the orchestra, from the stage to the instruments to the musicians, the audience, and the script. All are working together in sync to produce the music of pure harmony. So what is the importance of this music? This music is the power of pure harmony. It is a power that manifests to its fullest extent when zero conflict is reached. Now, what does this power actually do? What does the music actually do to you on your spiritual journey? So, to understand the power of the music and its purpose, we need to go to the other key aspect of stage 8, which is the river merging into the ocean. Now, this is where it gets more interesting. Let us consider for a moment the metaphorical journey of water through the first 7 stages. In stage 2, it starts as the essence of life in the form of a droplet. In stage 4, this droplet becomes a river and begins to flow and grow. In stage 5, it is endowed with an abundance of purity as it flows over its waterfall. At stage 6, which is the monks chanting in the temple, it, or the soul, attains enlightenment. At stage 6, the soul attains enlightenment, the river attains enlightenment. Then the river continues to grow and flow towards stage 7, which is paradise. At paradise, the river is right before the ocean, right in front of the ocean, but it has not begun to flow into the ocean. So souls at this stage of paradise have seen the light, which is depicted by the ocean infinite, but they have not ventured to merge into the light of the ocean itself. So let us take a few moments now to take a deeper look at the concept of enlightenment here. What is enlightenment? So I asked our friendly angels Cyrus and Luminous to help us with a simplified explanation of enlightenment in a language that we can all understand. I said, we learned that in stage 6, the level of the monks chanting in the temple, that the soul reaches a state of enlightenment. This is what I said to Cyrus. I said, we learned in stage 7, which is paradise, that the soul has a choice to make: to rest peacefully for eternity in paradise, or to venture ahead towards the stage of the orchestra, which is the most arduous of the 10 stages. Souls make the choice to proceed forward. They go through a fundamental shift in their journey, those that make the choice. Their karma is replaced by the karma of union, which will help them through stages 8, 9, and 10, and right to the door of light beyond which lies union with the Creator. So I ask Cyrus now, my question is, what is enlightenment at stage 6? And how is this enlightenment different to union with the Creator beyond stage 10? So what is the enlightenment we're talking about at stage 6? And how does it differ from union with the Creator at stage 10? Cyrus said that's a very deep and mystical question. He said, let us start with enlightenment. And what is it and how does it occur? He said, I'll give you a simple analogy to help you recognize what happens in this whole process of enlightenment. I'm going to give you an analogy and then let you work it out for yourself and experience it yourself when you get there. He said, think of yourself in this material world as being like a lighthouse. You stand tall and your light shines like a beacon. As the lighthouse, you know that there is a greater dimension to the light that resides within you. But you think it is something out there, something grand, and you don't know how to access it. So you try to access it through meditation, through prayer, through ethical living, and conscious pursuit of the extraordinary in the ordinary. You try very hard. You try your best. But if I ask you as the lighthouse, what is enlightenment? You will say, it is something out there, beyond you. It is something you will continue to search for each day, but you have no clue what it is. And you would be right. Then one day, during your search, you are blessed with enlightenment. What do you realize from this enlightenment? To answer that, take a step back and imagine yourself, the lighthouse, standing before the grand sun which shines brilliantly. Your light and the light of the grand sun are one and the same. So through your light, you connect with the light of the grand sun. And you now recognize without a shadow of doubt that your light and the light of the grand sun are one and the same. Now you no longer see the lighthouse and the sun as being separate. You see it all as one light, and you are that light. He said, that's what I call in scientific terms synthesis of the self. What does it mean? I asked Cyrus. He replied, it means realizing that you're not a duality like you always thought you were. You are not the lighthouse here, and your source is somewhere out there. You realize that you are light and nothing but light, exactly like your source. Your duality now becomes singularity, which is oneness. You recognize your light as being the light of oneness. Your sense of individuality is now gone. You are oneness, one light. And that is enlightenment. And souls that reach stage 6 are blessed with this realization. So enlightenment places you, the river, right before the ocean. For a lighthouse, the light of its source is the grand sun. For a droplet of water that has become a river, it recognizes that its source is the ocean. So duality at stage 6 is the lighthouse and the sun, its source. Duality at stage 7 is the river and the ocean. Now, souls that choose to rise beyond paradise and reach ultimate union, they are the river that gives up its duality as it seeks to merge into the ocean. And that is stage 8. When a soul reaches stage 10 and crosses the door of light, it is like the light of that lighthouse that flows into its source, the sun, where it dissolves forever into the sun. There is no more lighthouse, only the sun. And in the case of the river, it dissolves forever into the ocean. There is no more river, only the ocean. And that is union with the Creator. This union is complete or complete dissolution of the soul. It is a lot deeper and profound compared to enlightenment. So to summarize, enlightenment is the realization that you and your source are one and the same. Union is when you merge into your source and there is nothing left of you. You are dissolved into your source, like the river is merged and dissolved into the ocean. And what remains is only the ocean and nothing else. That is union. Do you see the difference now? Yes, I replied gratefully. That was a great analogy of the lighthouse. During enlightenment, the lighthouse recognizes that its light and the light of its source are one and the same. At union with its source, the lighthouse gets completely immersed into its source. It ceases to exist as a lighthouse. It becomes the source. Beautiful analogy, I said to Cyrus and Luminous as I bid them farewell. Thank you from all of us. Now let us look at the symbol of stage 8, where the river starts to merge into the ocean. Let us start by understanding what happens to a river when it flows into the ocean, both scientifically and spiritually. What happens? Scientifically, there are many schools of thought, and I will share with you my own personal understanding here. In simple terms, the ocean is a vast reservoir of salt water, and the salt has a strong ionic charge. The river is sweet, and hence it has a much lower ionic charge or electric charge, so it is weak. Now, imagine it's like a pencil that is trying to push through a hardcover book because the ocean is so strong and powerful, the river is so weak. That is the challenge the river faces from this perspective. It struggles in its journey into the ocean, faced by a lot of resistance. Secondly, the density of the salt water is much higher than sweet water. In other words, sweet water is much lighter than salt water. Hence, the sweet water floats above the salt water, separated by a firm boundary. Thirdly, the energy levels of the ocean are extremely high compared to the ocean. The energy levels of the river are very low. Hence, once again, the weaker energies of the river are venturing into the formidable energies of the ocean. This is difficult, and hence the river struggles. This is why the sweet water remains sweet in the ocean and the salty water remains salty. The further the river goes into the ocean, the better chance it has to fully merge, because its banks, which are now the salt water of the ocean, slowly dissolve away, breaking down the barrier that separates the river from the salt water of the ocean. Now, I have oversimplified the scientific points here, but it's useful to get a physical sense of what is happening. Now let us look at this phenomenon spiritually. Spiritually, the ocean is the infinite source of the soul. It is extremely powerful. The ocean is in a state of pure equilibrium or harmony. The river, when it enters the ocean, does not have that equilibrium or harmony. It has a lower level of harmony due to the presence of conflict. So once again, the weaker force is trying to merge into the almighty force. Hence, there is resistance, which is what we call the barrier. Now, the scriptures say that the Creator made the earth firm to live in. He made rivers in its midst, and He made a separating bar between two bodies of flowing water. So that's what the scriptures say. The separating bar is in essence the barrier we are talking about. The scriptures also say that this separating bar cannot be transgressed except by the will of the Creator. Herein lies disclosure of a beautiful mystical opportunity. It points to the possibility that the separating bar can be crossed only by the grace of the Creator, but it is possible. And this is a powerful possibility that we can all seek to strive towards. So coming back to the music of the orchestra, at stage 8, we can now see how instrumental it can be in helping the river to merge into the ocean. As the harmony of the river increases, it flows further into the ocean. When the music reaches pure harmony, or zero conflict, the barrier disappears and the river merges completely into the ocean. Now let us address the question: what can I do to help my soul in its journey through stage 8? How can I help my river or soul completely merge with its source? What can I do? The steps we will discuss now can be implemented regardless of what stage you may be at, because they help you rise up the 10 stages much faster. What are they? So the first and most important thing is to seek the grace of the Creator. So like the scriptures have said, the barrier can be overcome with the grace of the Creator. So it's pointing us where we need to aim, where we need to look, where we need to strive. How can we seek this grace? Firstly, through prayer. Consciously ask for the blessing of this grace in your prayers, instead of focusing on asking for material things and material events. Make this seeking the grace the priority of your prayer. The force of this prayer takes you closer to achieving your goal. This prayer also engages in a very harmonious way with the karma of union, which is there to facilitate your journey through stage 8. Next is through pure patience, and this is critical, pure patience. When we meditate with pure patience, we have a better chance of receiving this grace. Remember, this grace is not in our control. All we can do is seek it with patience. So keep meditating each day, and don't be disappointed or impatient if the grace doesn't come to you when you think it should, because it is not yours. You have no right to it. It is to be received with utmost humility. So take each day as a new opportunity. Now, what is the root cause of impatience? It is the future. The future is the culprit. We all wish for things and events to come our way in the future, whatever they may be. As soon as that wish is made, an expectation is born, and the clock starts ticking, allowing impatience to creep in. Impatience comes from expectations of unfulfilled outcomes. Remember, impatience comes from expectations of unfulfilled outcomes. Like, I expect to see the light, or I expect this, that, or the other to happen. These expectations make you impatient. When you want what would you want does not happen. So to achieve pure patience in our higher search, we have to build the following mindset. First, accept completely that what we are seeking is beyond our control. We have zero control. That's the first. Second, accept that we have no right to anything. We are entitled to absolutely nothing. Third, we should detach from the future and have zero expectation of whatever we consider success in our search to be. So detach from the future. Next, fourth, we should simply be grateful for the opportunity of being present. Fifth, we should accept that the future is not real. It does not exist. It is a creation of our mind. So let it go. Even during meditation, we should avoid projecting what we would like to see happen next in meditation, like projecting like see the light, or feel the peace, or experience happiness, or have an out-of-body experience. These expectations are figments of our imagination. Therefore, we should detach from them, shut them down in meditation. Do not think of what you want to see come next. You have to realize that your reality of your search, the only reality of our search, lies in the present moment. So immerse in the present moment, engage in there, and then go forward. But even in meditation, don't project or hope or ask for or look for. Those are your creations. Being in the present moment, remembering your linkage word, thinking of your higher self, thinking of your creator, and experiencing whatever we do, that is not your creation. That is coming to you. That's how you want to be, in the present moment alone. Now, my dear friends, this is how pure patience can be achieved. If you are attached to nothing, you are free to fly. You are free to receive whatever the Creator may want to bless you with. So that is the mindset I would recommend we assume during our meditation for higher search. Pure patience. Of course, while patience is tied to the future, we should also be mindful about detaching from the past, so as to shut down the doors of the memories that our mischievous mind is going to tap into in order to derail our meditation. So we have to disconnect with the past as well. And we do that in our meditations. The next is to practice what I call dispossession. That's the third one. Practice dispossession. What is dispossession? Dispossession is where you give up all your belongings, freeing yourself from all material ties during your meditation. So when you sit to meditate, you basically give up everything you own, from your home to your business, to your work, your cars, your attire, your pricely possessions, etc., etc. Basically, whatever material possessions you consider to be important. You also give up the people in your life. From friends to loved ones and acquaintances, you give up everything. So through disposition, you make yourself present for meditation. Dispossession, you make yourself present for meditation with the mindset of having absolutely nothing. Exactly like the moment you were born. This is important. Exactly like the moment you were born. The moment you encountered your first material experience. Until then, you had nothing. You were pure and innocent. Your mind was at a very beautiful and powerful wavelength at that time, the moment you were born, ready to absorb everything like a sponge. This is an important wavelength to take advantage of in meditation, because your mind does have deep down a recollection of having absolutely nothing. Like the moment when you entered into this world, the moment before material clutter began to come your way. Now, when you place yourself in this state of dispossession, you will begin to experience a unique sense of peace actually emerge from your mind, from the recollection of when it was free of all material clutter, when it was at its highest potential like a sponge, ready to receive. Let's use that in meditation. And once you've created this mindset, you can sit in total humility with freedom from all forms of attachment. And then seek the grace of your Creator from that vantage point. With this approach, your focus can become absolute, because you also are engaging with what already exists in your mind, that memory, that recollection of when you had nothing, when you were nothing. Go to that. And that helps in creating absolute focus, because you are free. Especially when you detach yourself also from all your wishes and expectations by disconnecting with the future. Now your mind has nothing to wander towards. So it helps you achieve the best possible mindset for your meditation, and this should be our goal. Now we will do a practical guided meditation in the near future to learn how we can establish this mindset and wavelength. We will practice this. So seeking the grace has certain very important practical elements that we are looking at now. Many years ago, while we are still on the subject of dispossession, Karima and I visited the Himalayan mountains in Kashmir, and we met this man. He was dressed like a sadhu in orange garb and all, and he was on a bicycle. And he had given up his entire material life and possessions to come to the Himalayan mountains in search of what he called the grace of Krishna. Now we saw him, we stopped, we thought he was intriguing, so we said, let's have a chat with him. And we talked to him for quite a while, and we found his story very intriguing. Lovely man. I had some difficulty reconciling within myself how he could give up his home, his business, his wife, his children, and wander about with no possessions except for his bicycle and a little pouch of clothes. Everything he had was on that bike, and the clothes pouch was only this much. But apparently he seemed fine with his decision. He had no regrets. Now, this was an exoteric form of dispossession. So let's understand the difference. This is an exoteric form of dispossession. I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong. But it is a literal discharge from all material attachments. In my mind, it opened a whole bunch of new questions, because I believe we are in this world, and from my own experience, we are in this world to gain experience in the midst of all the distractions and chaos and material attachments. Last week, when we were talking about part 1, I shared with you the story of Buddha, where, like this sadhu, he decided to gain enlightenment. He had to leave his palace, he had to leave everything, renounce all his belongings, and go into the forest. And there were a bunch of misguided people who followed him. And they wandered in the forest for years, but they found no enlightenment. Then one day, when he's at a lake and he's washing his face in the water, he sees the reflection of his face in the water. And the question comes to his mind, if I can see this reflection, I can seek the reality that lies behind this reflection. But if I run away from the world of mirrors and reflections, how am I going to find the reality? How am I going to find the truth? And so he goes back. And right in the midst of his chaotic material life, the Buddha finds enlightenment. So here, listening to this man, and he was a beautiful man, and we talked for almost an hour with him, and we really enjoyed our conversation, because we had an open mind. But that's when I realized, as I was preparing for our class, that I had actually come across esoteric dispossession through this man. So I'm sharing with you his story. Now, by contrast, what I am suggesting we consider here, which is also in keeping with the Buddha's experience, is an esoteric form of dispossession, where we let go of our belongings, our loved ones, and attachments in our mind for the duration of our meditation. So we let go of everything. This is not a physical dispossession, like the sadhu we met in Kashmir. It is a mental and a spiritual one, an esoteric one. So that's what I'm suggesting. And through this esoteric dispossession, we can establish a mindset of freedom from everything, freedom from all attachments, creating a very powerful focus in our meditation as we seek the grace. Next, the fourth way to seek the grace is through what I call boundless love. Now, what is this boundless love? Through meditation, as we build upon the linkage with our Creator, we begin to experience a unique type of love, which is very different to the love that we feel towards our fellow beings or creation. This love is deep, pure, and flows through our being in a very powerful way. We can feel it in every cell of our being. It can be overwhelming. This love grows naturally within us as we strive for that ultimate union. We can feel it in our meditation, we can experience it. We can feel it in our simple material activities. It is there, it is present. And it comes to us in short bursts or in constant waves. It comes to us. We simply have to be open and embrace this love and strive to make it grow further. When you experience it, don't analyze it, because it is beyond human comprehension. Just embrace it with gratitude. Sometimes, when we are in the presence of very powerful enlightened beings or are in sacred places, we feel this love. It makes us extremely happy, and our natural emotion is to break down and cry. But these are tears of joy. And I'm sure most of us here today have experienced this at one point or another in our lives. If we create a mindset where we consciously seek this love, it comes to us without any plan, without any timing, without any warning. You could be sitting in a garden and feel its waves. You could be with your family and loved ones and feel its waves come to you. There is no geography or event that brings this love. It is your sincere dedication towards this love that brings it to you. I'll give you an example. One time, a few years ago, we were in Istanbul. We went for dinner in Taksim Square. And then we started walking away from Taksim Square towards the statues of the Ottoman leaders who had actually gone from Turkey to India. And, you know, they were really, that's where the genesis of the Mughal Empire is supposed to have begun. We're walking down this street. There are no vehicles, it's just people. And I'm talking about thousands of people, literally. And going on this higher plane, as I look below, I just see people. And it's nighttime, and there's cafes and restaurants, and people enjoying themselves. And all of a sudden, this wave comes. And it comes in such a powerful way, because I feel this love coming to me from every single being that I see in front of me. Their love is coming and engulfing me, and it was like so powerful that I had to excuse myself from the family because I was breaking down, I was crying. I had to excuse myself and really spend some time on my own, just savoring this love, taking it in. It comes to all of us. But I had reached, or I was blessed with a point in my life where I had recognized this love from before. And I had kept myself completely open to it. I wasn't ever sitting saying, please come to me, no, but I was open to it. And the minute I feel its waves, I'm completely open. And then the experience is one of pure awe. So here, thousands of people in Istanbul, and I'm feeling their love. Each one of us can experience this boundless love. And yet, like I said, it'll come in short bursts, in small measures, and sometimes it's going to come in huge waves. Whatever form it takes is less important. I've shared with you from the small to the magnificent, completely magnificent. But it comes to us. Be open to it. Be aware of it. In your meditation as well, when you sit in peace, open that part of you that's just willing and very grateful should it come to you. The mere awareness that you have in you about this boundless love opens its door to you. And those of you who have experienced it will know what I'm saying. I would say each one of us here today has experienced it, sometimes in short bursts, sometimes in huge waves. So remember that after all, the Creator is infinite love. So you, the ray of the infinite love, have a direct connection with your Creator. So build on this connection through love and let it flow. Now, what is our biggest challenge we face when we seek to build our connection with this love? It is our material mind. And our immersion in our crises, events, desires, priorities, schedules, they consume our focus and they close us. And hence, if you make this love a priority of your life, above all material priorities, your mind will become helpless. It will no longer be able to close you out from it. This love will flow, you will receive, you will embrace it, and you will feel it flow through you constantly. And this is my prayer for you all to experience and grow with. Sincere prayer. This boundless love plays a very prominent role in the journey of the soul as it merges into its source at stage 9. And this love, we are still going to discuss it in stage 9 in further depth. But this love is mentioned in many scriptures and spiritual teachings across the globe throughout times. You hear the word love. Love your Creator. I've heard so many people ask, how can I love something that I cannot see, feel, or touch? It's a fair question. What am I supposed to love? We will come back to this boundless love in stage 9 and explore answers to these questions from a practical perspective, because this is one of our keys through the last 3 stages. I have not talked about this love until now. We've done 1 to 7 and we've gone through very pragmatic, practical, but today we've veered away from the material solutions, we are now going deeper and deeper into the esoteric aspects of our search, which we can apply and grow with, and boundless love is one of the keys. Finally, the grace of the Creator comes to us from the efforts of our soul to achieve zero conflict by using all the means we have discussed so far in stage 8. And we will dedicate a full webinar on the journey towards zero conflict as part of stage 8. So my dear friends, each one of us is responsible for working with our soul to accomplish this goal of seeking the grace. Here, the karma of union also plays a very important role in helping each one of us who is at this stage to complete merger of the river into the ocean. The karma of union brings us people, events, and opportunities that help us eliminate all conflict from our beings, thus enabling us to reach pure harmony of the ocean. When the orchestra achieves absolute harmony, its music causes the barrier to break down, allowing the river to finally become the ocean at the 9th stage. This, my dear friends, is the power of the music of your orchestra. This is the power of your music of your orchestra, because it has the power to break down that one barrier that allows you to merge into your Creator. So create this music, work towards it. It's well worth it. And finally, we come to the conductor. Who is the conductor? The role of the conductor in an orchestra is to lead and direct the musicians to play the music according to the script. That is the role of the conductor. The conductor knows exactly what is required to enable the orchestra to play that music of pure harmony. From the stage or platform to the instruments, the script, the audience, the music, the conductor has full knowledge of what needs to be done. So who is the conductor? The conductor is your higher self, your soul. Your soul knows what it seeks to achieve. It engages even before you're born, it engages with the Creator to set its karmic compass and all the events that it needs to experience in life to grow in knowledge and light, to complete its learning, so that it can rise from light upon light, as the parable of light describes, until it achieves its final union with its source. The conductor knows the karmic compass. The conductor knows the karma of enlightenment. The conductor knows the karma of union. And hence the conductor guides the entire orchestra through inspiration. And this is why in our daily busy material lives we should allocate time for our soul. We should make it a priority to remember our soul, to nourish it, and to open ourselves to the inspirations that it sends through our intellect. This is why prayer, contemplation, higher thought, reflection, and meditation are so important. If you are so immersed in your material life that you completely forget about your eternal soul, you are sadly disengaging with the most powerful aspect of your being, through which you can ascend through the 10 stages of your soul's journey. You are disengaging with the conductor of your orchestra. That's very sad. If you are disengaged from the conductor, what chance do you have of making it to the level of the orchestra? Therefore, and this is why all the spiritual teachings you come across say nurture the soul, think about the soul, because that is the most powerful element of your being. It's the conductor of your orchestra. Therefore, every morning when you wake up, remember the conductor, your soul. Seek to draw upon all its guidance and inspirations through the day. It will guide you. It will inspire you, so that your journey can be shaped to achieve all that is envisaged in your karmic compass. We have 3 videos on karma on the YouTube channel on this subject. Please revisit them, because now that you have recognized who the conductor is and we have reached stage 8, whatever I shared in those 3 videos on karma are now going to make an incredible amount of sense. And as you engage frequently with your soul, your conductor, you will gain the ability to shift from your material mind into the mind of the conductor, your higher self. And that's a beautiful shift. And thus it will enable you to live with enlightened thought. So with that, I would like to conclude today's masterclass. We have so much to absorb and put into practice. And the good news is that we have beacons to work with as we pursue our exalted destiny. Now I'll prepare guided practical meditations through which we can try to harness some of these esoteric beacons that we have encountered today, such as pure patience. How do you practice to get there? Dispossession. We can go through guided meditations to help build that dispossession, so that when we sit in our meditation of higher search, it comes to us naturally. Boundless love. How do we work with that in meditation? Now, once a month we have practical meditation sessions where we do the guided meditation and then you all carry on. I'll start incorporating those in our upcoming practical meditations then. So with that, I'd like to conclude. Thank you very much, each one of you, for being here, bringing your love, light, and presence to today's webinar. I hope there has been ample food for thought. We are now, as we are in stage 8, 9, and 10, we are going deeper and deeper now into the esoteric realm. And it's fascinating, it's exciting, and that's really why we are here. That's really who we are. So stay blessed, stay happy, stay safe. I pray that the light of our Creator may always be with you, to help you, guide you, protect you, and love you. Stay blessed always.